Hello everyone, welcome to another video. And in this video, I'm going to predict and have my own character concepts for the Fantastic Four coming up. Because we all know now at this point, they are coming in season 1. We just don't know if they're going to be all at once or like maybe in twos. We will see about that. But I'm going to do my predictions on how I think their kits could work and the characters themselves. And yeah, so let's get into it. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory. He's to be a duelist. His primary fire, we call it Hot Stuff, shoots blasts of fire that damage over time. Ability 1, Blazing Comet, dives down to the ground like a comet to perform a blazing blast slam. And this makes sense too, since he'll always be aerial in the air, flying around to be able to get down to the ground quick and do some a area of effect blast damage, and makes sense for his fire to be able to damage over time, not just real quick. Ability 2 is Trail by Fire. He leaves a trail of fire behind him, serving as a wall of flame. Ability 3, Protective Flame. Forms a flaming barrier around him and an ally. The more damage taken while inside the ring will burn higher and brighter, giving more defense while dealing more damage and to nearby enemies. So the Trial by Fire has a way of being able to mark like where you kind of use that dash, that where you leave that trail of fire in order to protect allies or to block off certain pathways. And the other to be able to try to have a little defense for you and your allies yourself if you're getting in a tight pinch and they get lower on health. This will be able to hopefully extend yours and their life. Ability 4, Ignite from Above. Flies forward while igniting 2 constant beams of flame below him. His passive, Heat Seeker. By damaging the enemy, you build up their burn meter. Once it reaches the 3rd degree burn on the meter for that enemy, his Hot Stuff attack will then heat seek and follow them to impact that enemy. So the Ignite from Above gives you another aerial attack for you and more of a constant stream of damage, more than a burst or damage over time. And with the Heat Seeker, really motivates you to try and build up that damage on certain enemies to get them to that 3rd degree burn level, because then your primary fire can heat seek and go and find them and still get the damage on that opponent. And the ultimate for Human Torch would be Nova Flame. Will charge up and deliver a huge blast of heat and energy from his body, automatically sending all enemies that get too close during this mode into 3rd degree burn status, allowing him to unleash hordes of fire that will track them down if not careful. So this one can really be lethal, because just like, for instance, in Hawkeye's ultimate, it automatically sends his arrow charge to 100 for every arrow. It's the same with this, except it sends all the nearby enemies into 3rd degree burn status, therefore allowing the Heat Seek ability to take effect and to be able to just follow them if they're all the Hot Stuff primary attacks will follow them wherever they go if they get too close. So it can be really lethal in that way. And the team up ability he can have is Groot, and it's called Forest Fire. He will give Groot the ability to conjure a flaming Groot wall that will deal big damage if too close. Next we have the Thing. And this is kind of another obvious choice for a Vanguard. I mean, he's a tank. Like, he's up there with the Hulk. Him and the Hulk have had many bouts. I mean, he's made of stone. He's a big boy. So let's get into this. For his primary fire, Rocking Out. Deals devastating punches with his rock-hard fist. Ability 1, Charging Force. He barrels forward in a charge to damage structures and enemies. The primary fire, Rocking Out, I want to do a little homage. I'm a big fan of some rock music. I mean, his skin's rock hard too. So that's self-explanatory. Charging force. I felt like it would be good for him to have a charge to be able to barrel into enemies, damaging them, and taking advantage of the destructible environments within this game too. That can be a unique thing. Ability 2, Immovable Foundation. He holds his ground and parries the impact with his rocky skin while giving his nearby allies bonus health. Ability 3, Flying Pebbles. He can pick up a piece of the ground and throw it at an enemy. If an enemy is stunned, he can grab and throw an enemy also with this ability. So, a movable foundation, a little nod to Future Foundation they're a part of. And like I said, he's a rock. This will be good, kind of similar to Iron Fist, is how he can parry in that way, except this is one big one. And along with parrying this, he gives his allies that bonus health as well. And I feel like this could either be used with the destructible environments. He has to take something that's destructible, and then he can throw it, or it can just give it the animation where he throws a chunk of the ground, picks it up anywhere and throws it. And the fact that he also has different stun abilities goes into the next thing about how he can grab and throw an enemy if they are stunned. So that combo is good with some other ways he has to stun enemies to come. Ability 4, Steady Shockwave. He can aim the direction of a stomp with his foot that sends a targeted shockwave in that highlighted direction, stunning the enemy. Passive, Boulder Rampage. While he is charging, every time he damages an enemy, he is granted bonus health. So that steady shockwave, like I said, that's one way he can stun. Along with there will be that involved with his ultimate here to come. To then be able to throw, after using that stun, to be able to throw an enemy that is stunned can really come in handy. Throw them into different combos with your teammates, possibly, or off the map. And Boulder Rampage just gives you incentive to hit as many enemies and do as much damage while in that charge as possible to keep giving you that bonus health. And his ultimate, you could have guessed it, it's clobbering time. He pounds the ground with his fist, creating shockwaves that stun the enemies. He then gets a damage boost once they are stunned. Team up ability, Fastball Special. He will be able to pick up and launch Wolverine in the air. So that, like I said, that ultimate I spoke about really comes into play with another way to stun your enemies. And then also getting a damage boost once any enemies are stunned. Along with, like we said, being able to throw them while they are stunned. So you could, once they're stunned, you can throw them and do different things with that ability. But also you get that damage boost as well. And the team up ability, like Hulk in Season 0, we have the Fastball Special, but this time it is the Thing throwing him. Next we have Mr. Fantastic. And I think he'd be a good duelist, but actually I could see him falling as a duelist, strategist, or vanguard, depending how they make the kit. But where I think they're going to stick him, I think, is duelist. And that's where I'm going to for this video. Primary fire, Rubber Bang. Stretches out his arm to punch an enemy. Ability 1, Wall of Bounce. Can turn into a flat wall like barrier to reflect enemy fire back at them. He can change the angle of the wall and allies can jump into it, propelling them in the opposite direction. So his primary fire, similar to Rubber Bang in this case. It's pretty simple. Stretches using that elasticity to be able to be like rubber to really stretch far and to be able to make contact with enemies that way. And the Wall of Bounce, the fact that for him to be able to reflect incoming projectiles from enemies back at them, so they had to be careful to not be back in the line of sight of when that's flying back. And that's another cool mechanic added to that wall is for him to be able to angle it different and to be able to, his allies use that as like, they could use it to jump upward or into the enemies, or you can, some different ways to think how to utilize that for the team. Ability 2, Turbulent Ball. Turns into a big bouncing ball, dealing damage with multiple bounces in that area. Ability 3, Constricting Snake. Does a grab where he curls up like a snake, wrapping around them and squeezing to deal damage. The Turbulent Ball, seen him in different forms of media to be able to do that. I'm thinking this, you could bounce off structures possibly with this, maybe, but it's possibly just bouncing up and down and causing chaos within enemies in that area, of dealing a good bit of damage, and him repeatedly bouncing up and down in that area. And could use it for a form of mobility, possibly too, maybe. Constricting Snake, though, does a grab, and once he be able to get them in that hold, can really do some good damage for him, and is tied to his passive that will be coming up soon. Ability 4, Evasive Stretch. Elongates his legs and body to cover more ground and reach great lengths. Ability 5, Household Tools. Can switch between forming his arms into a hammer or a pair of scissors to deliver flexible use. The evasive stretch, this is that mobility, can be a mobility purpose for him to be able to really cover great distances, seeing how far he can stretch in different media with his legs and his body. So that could really help him get out of trouble as far as attacks and cover a lot of ground on the battlefield. Household tools, to be able to switch from into his arms and hands into a hammer or a pair of scissors. You could do both, possibly hands as hammers or just the one, and could possibly do maybe some stun damage, big damage there. And the scissors could, to be able to really, if you can time it right and trap people inside between those two arms as they come clamped together, the two hands of the scissors, that can be really devastating too. And the fact that he can switch between these to see which better fits the situation itself. Ability 6, Liquefied State. Can enter a state where he turns into a flat liquid form, able to move under structures and be flat against the surface, able to sneak around this way and avoid certain attacks quickly. His passive, Slithering Grab. After using the Constricting Snake ability, it temporarily marks that enemy, so it will perform an auto-locked grab, pulling them to him by using his primary fire. So that liquefied state gives him a multiple uses for mobility, to be able to get under structures and without even the team knowing, what the enemies knowing he's there, to be able to sneak under there, to sneak around past them, to be able to even avoid certain attacks if it's coming and you see it, and you can be liquid pretty much flat on the ground, and then to come out of that can really be handy. Numerous uses for this ability. And the Slithering Grab, to be able to, after performing the Constricting Snake, to be able to use this in combo, in tangent with this, having it temporarily mark that enemy, so you can then just grab them by using your primary fire, can be real handy. And then pulling them in, then you could do different combos, whether it's the bouncing ball or the hammer or scissors or different things once you get them in close again. So it's real good to have that slithering grab in there. Next we have his ultimate, Council of Reeds. Reed spawns the multi-dimensional bridge portal, and out of them waltz multiple versions of Reed from the Council of Reeds to all attack the same time whichever enemy he is targeting. Team Up ability, Flexible Assistance. Gives the ability for Iron Man and Penny Parker to have one of the members of the Council of Reeds to appear, helping attack with them and defend them. So with the Ultimate Council of Reeds, I thought it was good to bring in how facet of how smart Reed Richards is, and because we could easily just go off his powers and use that, but I wanted to do something a little different for the ultimate. The fact that he invented this, the bridge, be able to deal with the multiverse, and but also utilizing the Council of Reeds coming in, different variants of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, coming in to help aid him. So in this case, he would be attacking an enemy, and all of a sudden, if they come in, all of them are attacking the same enemy with probably the primary fire just stretching and punching them. So all of them would be helping you out, attack and target that same enemy and enemies that you're targeting. And the flexible assistance, I felt it would be good to give Iron Man and Penny Parker this, possibly because they're very more tech based with their suits, and how Mr. Fantastic can utilize his intelligence to be able to help them, and then loaning out pretty much one of the Council of Reeds to come and help attack and defend with them, I thought was a cool idea. And lastly, we have Invisible Woman, and I would view her as a strategist. The fact that she can project force fields, become invisible, she could really help aid her teammates with those force fields, and be able to provide some healing as well. So let's dive into hers. So for her primary fire, Reflecting Light can send an orb of light to damage enemies or heal allies. Ability 1, Disappearing Act. Can turn invisible. While invisible, is able to use reflecting light. She can do a dash that will project an energy blast through her body, then turn visible again after. So that primary fire, to be able to, that's how she was able to change stuff within the visible, the light, the spectrum, to be able to make her seem invisible. But like some other strategists, to be able to have this, to be able to damage enemies or heal allies is useful. And the Disappearing Act to turn invisible, but can use the primary fire still, reflecting light while she's invisible, to be able to get that secret damage while she's hidden. But then to come out of, she can do that the energy blast through that dash while she's invisible, but then that will revert her back to her visible form. Ability 2, Allied Force. Puts force fields around her nearby allies while giving them healing. This field is invisible to the enemies. Ability 3, Translucent Bubbles. She can project invisible bubbles that will then stun the enemy if they touch it. Ability 4, Floating Disc. She can temporarily take flight and glide while on the air disc. As for Allied Force, to be able to gives a way to shield her allies and also give them healing other than through her primary attack. And this too, it will be invisible to enemies, so they might be attacking them, but might wonder why am I not getting the damage? Well, two reasons. One, that shield is giving them healing, and they're shielded as it is. So they might have to rethink who they're attacking but yet they can't see where the field covers, who it's covering. So that'll really get them to think, second guess who they're attacking, because yet they can't see the field. So they don't want to be wasting time, ammo, and abilities on one that is covered with her Allied Force ability. The Translucent Bubbles. The fact that she can, these will be invisible as well, and you can run into them and they will stun you, and then her or her teammates can take advantage of that. Similar to Jeff's bubbles, but these will stun and they are invisible. And the Floating Disc is her way of not being able to always fly, but have that mobility to her kit, to be able to take flight with them and glide with the air disc. Ability 5, Lockdown. Puts a force field around an enemy, so while in it, none of their attacks will go through it temporarily, and for the moment they will be blinded. Ability 6, Shocking Field. Give an ally a force field around them that sends out shockwaves for a time. This field is visible to the enemy, but does not heal. Okay, for the Lockdown, to be able to put the enemy in this and really restrain and control their primary fire, all their attacks, their abilities, to where they can't go outside this force field. And not only that, but the fact that for the moment they will be blinded too, because that is within her abilities that she can do to enemies, blinding them temporarily. So similar to cloak and daggers, except it is only applied to the victim within this force field. So they're not only can they not use their abilities, but then they might be running around because they're blinded and stuck in this force field, just hoping they can get away. And shocking field, I decided not to give this one necessarily healing because she has other ways a variety of other ways to heal, and the fact that you can see this one, the enemy can see this shock or this force field. So it's visible to the enemy, but it doesn't heal. But the fact that it does, it sends out those shock waves, so it still gives them defense and also added protection and damage possibly through those shock waves. Her passive, Unseen Endurance. While invisible, if she gets an elimination, it will extend her time to be invisible. Ultimate, Family First. She puts down a big force field, allowing all her allies inside of it to be invisible while gaining healing. The field cancels out damage coming from the outside. She can adjust the size of the field too. And her passive for Unseen Endurance, that give her incentive to be able to get eliminations while invisible with her primary fire, Reflecting Light. Because each time she uses that special dash, it will revert her out of her invisible form back into her visible form. So any eliminations you'll have to get while invisible will have to be through that primary fire. The incentive to really take a stealthy approach to her and to help your team out in that way too. And her ultimate, Family First, thought it was kind of funny too, because they always say the Fantastic Four is Marvel's first family. That's a little tweak of that. But the fact that she'll put out a force field that doesn't stay, move around with the allies, but it will be in one location. But she can adjust the size of this, or bigger or smaller. But the fact that all her allies within this can be invisible and they're gaining healing, the fact that they can be invisible, if you're an enemy in there, they wouldn't be able to see you, so that you're just running around blind. But if you're looking at it from the outside, you can't see them either. So just you can give your allies and your team a big advantage using this while they're still gaining healing within that force field. So could really cause some havoc if done the right way. And I would tend to probably make that field a little bigger to be able to give more of your allies that invisibility as well as the healing. And the team up ability, Bubble Boom. This will allow Jeff to shoot a big bubble that when popped will do huge damage. I thought since Jeff can use those bubbles already, and then she has that, or she can have those invisible bubbles that can stun. I thought that was a good middle ground team up there. But thank you so much for watching this video. I can't wait to see what their actual abilities and powers are for the game here soon, and how they play. And I just can't wait to can't wait to play them in the game and for season 1 to begin. Not long at all, but and to see the differences too, like in my versions and in their versions, see the similarities and differences as well. That'll be pretty great to see. But again, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're digging this material. More Marvel Rivals content on the way to come. Thank you as always. Mr. Vim, out.